Woola. Greetings, everyone. How are you? Happy Saturday to you. Hope you're doing well. It is pretty nice in Chicago. Anyway, it was in the sun. It was beautiful, but it got in some spots. It wasn't so nice. But hey, we doing good out here. It's pretty warm in most apartments because the heat is on and the temps are not as um, cold. So kind of a little toasty inside. But hey, we take it in Chicago. We take what we can get. I got something for you, Don Teasy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I love you. Girl, you know it's true. Yeah, I will be humming that for a while. That I do know. For the ladies in the chat room, I wonder if you all have experienced this. That's what I want to know. Have you ever gone to the grocery store and you were checking out? Everything seemed to be fine until you got to the register and the cashier looked at you and suddenly became silent, just said nothing. No hello, how are you doing? Nothing like that. Okay, fine. You don't really have to, even though the store asks that you greet the customers. But let's say you go through that and then they ring you up and the amount of money, of course, is on their screen and depends on what store you're shopping. You can see a screen yourself and see how much it is. But that cashier decides not to say anything, not to tell you how much it is. So you go ahead and put your card in and you take care of your transaction, or you hand them the cash, they take it, they hand you your change, hand you the receipt, and that's it. Then, and as you're walking away, you hear them greet the next customer. Hello, how you doing? Or whatever the greeting may be. I call those silent transactions. And I find that among women that have some type of issue with you. Now, what the issue is, I couldn't say because I don't have all those type of emotions that some of the women have, whether it's um, envy, jealousy, lust, or whatever. I don't know what they're going through. But I've found that in some instances, and it happened to me at Whole Food, and I just really couldn't believe it. It was a young lady. Um, Soon as I looked at her, when we looked at each other in the eye, and I said hello, she immediately became mute. She said nothing else to me, nothing. Hand me my receipt, and that was it. Didn't tell me how much it was. Didn't ask me if I wanted a bag credit or did I want to donate. Now that is something that they do ask you at Whole Food if you want to donate your bag credit if you bring your own bags. I didn't get that. I got nothing. That sister just said nothing to me. So when I go now, I try not to get in her line. I think I saw her today, and that's a shame. It was just very uncomfortable, and I hadn't done anything. And you will find that that's what will happen. You won't do anything to anyone, and they will instantly have a problem with you. If you were to ask them what the problem was, you would never get an answer. It will not happen because they don't have one, or they're being embarrassed about it, whatever the answer would be. Yeah, fitness mom. Um, that could be so. I might have flashed it too fast. Let me put it back up there for those who didn't see it. It could be, but I would say I've studied these people, and it always has something. It was always another black woman, uh, and the age range. It all can depend. It really. I really can't pinpoint the age range because this lady, after I looked at her, after I saw that she was going to give me a silent transaction, I decided to look a little harder at her to see what the age was. And I'm like, I got 15 years on this girl. What does she have a problem with me? I'm just a customer. I got in her line. It was my turn. It wasn't like I really got in her line. We were in one line. Her register was free, and I was the next person to step up. But she instantly had some type of issue, and I've had that many a time. And these people are not wandering off. They don't have anything on their mind. This was something that was deliberate, and that's kind of unfortunate that we are like that. That is really sad. But that's just an experience I had, and I decided to share it with you all. I've already given you my weather. I hummed for Don Teasy already, and then I gave you one of my stories. I always have some stories. I'm not going to say stuff always happened to me. It's just things that I'm aware of that I notice, and they can be a little weird sometimes, a little strange. But some people they do experience the same things that I've experienced. And I think what makes me sad is the fact that it is one of our very own. I'm finding more of that happening now, that we're not courteous to each other, and it doesn't cost anything. And it actually takes more effort to dislike someone than it does to like someone. Did you know that? Because you have to mentally have in your mind, oh, okay, um, I got to come up with an example that I don't want because I don't want no comments about no nothing. I hate that type of stuff. Um, let's go with tall. Oh, you're 5'7". That may be on that person's mind. They look at you and they got a problem with that because you're 5'7". I'm like, "There's something wrong with these people." But it takes an effort to keep in mind, oh, she's tall, I ain't gonna say nothing to her. Oh, she tall, I'm gonna look the other way. Oh, she tall, not gonna speak to her. That takes some effort. And I've had that happen. And I can give my fair assessment. There was a situation that happened between some YouTubers, and I would run into the person, and I had spoke to everyone in the chat room because if you all know me, I greet everyone. I say greetings, everyone, when I come in. If I'm late to a chat room, I won't highlight everyone's name. If I'm there early, I'm going to take time and highlight everyone's name and speak to them. I have certain people that won't speak back. Um, I might pull that sister to the side or I might not because I give everyone 3 tries. That's the law. You give a person 3 tries. And they don't, respond, just, oh, let them alone. Let them have whatever it is they're having. And I just asked the person, I said, are we going to, yeah, I said we, because it was taking effort not to speak to this person because they didn't want to speak to me or they didn't speak to me. So I just asked them, I said, are we going to continue doing this? I don't have a problem with you. And they said, I don't have a problem with you either. And it ended right there. And we've been speaking to each other ever since. So keep that in mind. Be courteous to people. Don't take time and, we have enough of that among ourselves, not being courteous. Because when you go to work, you speak, and you may have that one person in office that don't speak, and that's out of maybe 15 to 30 people. It depends on the size of the office. And then they're normally older and they got some problems. But other than that, you go to work, you speak. So why wouldn't you do that just in your everyday life? It doesn't cost anything. And then you bring that crap home to your spouse, mate, or whoever it is. They don't like being around you too much either. Because trust me, them attitudes, they really need to stop. It really takes effort to be ugly on the inside and the outside because if you're pleasant to people, you're looking to be a beautiful person to be around. So keep that in mind. Greetings and welcome, classic Ruby, everybody.
Hello, hello. Good evening. And I wanted to say, listen, I actually now, and this might be, I cannot, sometimes there are things that happen, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe there's a difference because, we know our cultural dysfunction. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's a little different. But I'm gonna say I see this all the time, but I see this in okay, it's not a specific issue with me because I'm pretty, I'm light skinned, I'm tall, I'm short, whatever it is. I remind them of the woman who stole the man. It's not that. It's just that I'm black. Um, and I noticed this, right? And so I was thinking through your story. I was like, okay, is she or like the Whole Foods you go to, are a lot of the customers not black? That was what I was wondering. And the customer behind you that she was suddenly greeting and friendly, was that customer not black? Because I've noticed that with West Indian people are very much like that,
Mm,
because when like if you go to a West Indian store where only black people are coming in, there's no such thing as customer service. They will look at you like when it's your turn, they won't even say, "Can I help you?" or let you know that you're next. They'll just stare you down like you did them something. You're like, "Oh, does that mean it's my turn?" Okay. I'm great. And you know what I mean? Like it's like
yeah.
you have to guess, are you trying to fight me or do you want to take my order? I'm not sure. Um, and so I noticed when they work in an establishment where they have to serve a lot of white people or just not black people, what they
Hmm.
figure is this: they still don't have to give black people customer service. And they know black people aren't going to rat them out because, we got that thing. So for all I might hate you and your customer service, I'm not going to go and get you fired because we black people. Um, but they know that they can't rely the same way that white people, Indian people, or any other race isn't going to rat them out and get them fired. So and in fact, they know that it might even be extra the opposite way, where the littlest thing that they don't do right, some white man's going to complain on them, they're going to get fired. So they are super nice to every customer, and then they look and they go, "Oh, black person, what do you want?" Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like they suddenly
Yeah.
like, "Oh, good, I don't have to try because it's you." And it's like it's not even like a hate thing. It's a laziness thing. It's a when I see black people, I feel like I don't have to try that hard. And I think that it really does come down to a level of, that kind of like that expectation we have from each other, almost like, I don't, your money's not as good, I don't have to treat you as well, you're not as valued as, the white man or the Asian woman or whatever it is. That's that, at least in my experience.
Look, look at Zero. He's so mean. Look at
Oh
him. That's
no.
just
What
terrible.
did he say over there now?
He's that person. Remember, I said it's usually within a group of 15 to 30. You got that one person, but they're normally older. From my
Mm.
observation, they're normally older. But Zero, look what he wrote. It's just terrible. But now as far as your
um,
question with the whole food,
hmm.
um, I already know what this was. This was because of the color of my eyes. I already knew that's what that was. That lady
Mm,
had a problem with that. Sometimes I can pinpoint what it is with the person. Sometimes I
right.
can't. And but that particular woman, it was with my eyes. I already knew that. But um, in some instances, you do find where, oh, you black, oh, blah. But
Yeah, I don't
sometimes
have
it's
to care.
personal, and it's the personal ones that kind of stand out. Those are the
Mm,
ones. Those are ones I call silent transactions. The other person that like, oh, you black. I don't look at it that way. I just look at that as bad customer service. I put that in that category. But the
right.
people with the personal issues that take their time to avoid you, not speak to you, not do what they normally do. Um, when it's you,
Mm,
then I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. I get you. I see you.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. And I mean, I'm not to say that I haven't seen someone and I know it's because I'm light skinned. I know it's because something, right? Like I personally offend you because I personally am something that irks you. And right. And normally it's light skinned. It's the fact that I'm light skinned and you can see it. Like, I don't know, maybe a lot of people here assume that I'm biracial. I have
Hmm.
some white parents, so I don't know if it's their assumption that I'm biracial. For a lot of time that I wore weave, I think there was a lot of assumption that my weave must be real. So then the jealousy of, oh, well, just because you got Indian hair, like, no, I don't. I got 4C hair, just like you, I know how to buy weave too, right? But like, there's this assumption it must have grown out of my head because I had the Aryanish features to them, the straight long nose and stuff, so I could pull off or the whiteness enough. And so I think there was a lot of that. So I have seen it. It's not like I've never seen it, but I just find overall that's it's hard to differentiate here anywhere. Just generally West Indians, especially. I can't say Africans. I'm not sure about them, but I will
Uh-huh.
say West Indians, especially. You know what? Listen, I can't even put it on all West Indians. Jamaicans are ignorant like that. Like that's just how they are. Like they see and they're like, what? What do you want? Like somehow no one taught them customer service, and you would think that's just how they are. They don't have the capability to do better until you see them talk to a non-black person. You're like, oh, you can, just not me. Got it. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's terrible, and
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that, and I just wanted to share that, and just ask people to, just don't take it personal, whatever it is. I
Right.
thought that was interesting what you just mentioned that um, you remind her of the man that she lost. That was funny, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I wouldn't put that past it. That could be it too. But
Right. I know you never saw that chick from up close, so you're not sure. I kind of look like her, right? I'm what you imagined he left you for. That light skinned bitch with Becky with the good hair, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I reminded you of her, and now you're not sure. Should you be slitting my throat? Is your man's name Shane? Right? They want to ask questions, but they can't. Right? So they just give you the evil eye.
now there was once I had went to the store, and this guy that I found out that was married, and I ended it. I actually ran into his wife at a store, I think about a year or so afterwards, and she ain't say nothing to me, and I ain't say nothing to her except for, how much is that?
Right.
Here's the money. Thank you. Have a good day, and that was it.
Mm.
But
Ooh. That would be a tough one because you see, I hate being like, I know this is going to sound stupid because everyone makes mistakes and everyone's in the wrong, but I hate being in the wrong. Like I hate being that one that is a bad person for whatever reason, right? Like I don't know what I would
mhm.
do. I think if I saw the person, I would turn around and I'd just walk out of the store. I think I would literally like, oh, you work here, okay, I don't deserve to be here, and I think I would just leave. Like I would just feel so bad. Yeah, I'm so that person. Like well, you know me, right? I sit there and like the littlest social faux pas like haunts me all day. I'll be thinking, how could I have said that better? And it'll keep echoing in my mind. And I'm like, oh, everyone's probably sitting there thinking, oh, Ruby's such a loser for the way she said that. Like I'm telling you, I really do that. So I think if I was ever in that situation and then I saw her, I'd be like, oh God, this poor thing. You know what? No, she might as well have a restraining order against me. Like I will willingly remove myself so she doesn't have to deal with me.
Yeah, I didn't think twice. I'm like, oh, that's her, and I went on, checked out. I had something to do. I wasn't thinking about all of that. It was a unfortunate incident. She
Right.
called me, found out that was her husband. I said a few things to her, and that was it. So I can't help. I bumped into her a year later, and um, she was the one that worked at the store. I needed what I
Right.
needed. I checked out.
I needed what it was what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never been really. that person that's shamed like that? I don't know. I was like,
I know,
yeah,
because you don't
I don't
care.
know.
See, I told you, I'm trying to grow up and become like you, where I just care a lot less about like things that are beyond my control. But I can't. Like, I'm still there. I know it. Okay, I'm paranoid, and oh, and it's not even like I honestly really think that the person will do something to me. It's not like it's not fear. Um, it's like a feeling of what would be right for me to do, like the moral high ground or whatever. It's almost like, and I mean that's what I mean. It's not even like it's noble. It's not really noble. And I know it's not noble because it has something to do with still like how can I make myself not the bad person here, right? So it's still pretty selfish if you look at it, right? Like just to figure out how to stop. Like I don't know. I'm telling you, I've been to therapy before. I clearly need so much more. Like we only scratch the surface of like 10 of my 152 problems, right? This is clearly still a deep one. So let's just work on
Well,
it.
well, I'm gonna tell you, Ruby, the fact that you know is a problem, I commend you.
Thank you. Thank you. Right? So always the first step. Aw, you
Yeah.
guys. Thanks. I see the applauding audience. Don't worry. I see it in my head. It's right there. The Leo.
Well, we can get started with some of and I'll let you go first because I have the actual video of the Baker Act conversation with the CEO.
Ooh,
Or
okay.
is she a CEO? Let me think. Whatever the institution, whatever her title is, I have that for you. So
Ooh,
I'll let you
oh, okay.
introduce it.
Okay,
Yes.
hold on 1 second. Because I know this is hilarious, but my hands are in my hair. Because hair day is all weekend, as you know. And it started a couple of
Yeah,
extended
with
days.
all that hair you have, I know. Woo,
Oh
girl.
my God. Look, this is why during the winter, I just go for things that are literally that take up several months if I can. Oh, I can put it
Hmm.
in twist and not touch it again for 2 months. Great. Yeah, I'm amazing. Okay. Oops. Oh no. Hold on. I clicked on the wrong thing. Of course I did. Um, let's try this again. Click.
Yeah, because
Okay.
don't want to play his video. I don't have his authorization, so I'm like, well, I can definitely play the other one, and that'll explain everything. Go ahead,
Okay. Can we
introduce.
play the video to begin with?
Oh,
Because
okay.
I am having trouble because I can't let go
Uh
of my
oh.
hair. Yeah. So I'm
She
trying to do
can't
stuff
let
with my
go of her
elbow. It ain't working.
hair.
I know. I know. So let's play the video first. I will give you a little quick rundown just because I can't remember specific details. I need to pull up the article to see the names. Okay. But and people, y'all need to understand something. When we're talking about the fact that we need schools for our Black boys, we need to recognize that it's not just schools for Black boys that we need. We need schools for our children collectively. Our children are not safe inside of these institutions. And honestly, some of you might find this a really surprising way. Okay. Because, and I'm not sure if y'all know this, but did you know that a school can literally lock your kid up in a mental ward without so much as consulting you, like behind your back? Like, literally, you can drop your kid off at school today and you can get a phone call saying, oh, well, you can pick your kid up from the mental ward in 72 hours. This for real can happen to your small children. And so that's what happened with this 1 6 year old. So let's watch the video. And then by then, I should be done this and we can go into more detail.
All right. And I did the share screen, but I didn't ask for the audio. You have to do that. I forgot about that part. So I had to go back in. I had to go out to go back in. So,
Ooh,
boop, there we
technology.
are.
You got this.
CEO of Mental Health. So yeah, it is the CEO. I thought it was. CEO
Okay.
of Mental Health Center stands behind policies after Jacksonville girl involuntarily committed. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just wait.
All right. Let's play this beautiful bean footage.
Okay.
Hopefully no commercials, no problems.
I know, right? Like, It. Oh,
Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
New information about the decision of Baker Act, this 6-year-old girl who is seen on this police body camera video being escorted out of her school, Love Grove Elementary. The CEO of the nonprofit which made that decision to have Nadia King transported to a mental facility, Riverpoint Behavioral Health, 2 weeks ago, is now speaking with News 4 Jax.
And I-Team investigator Kelly Wiley is in the newsroom with what she's learned. Kelly.
CEO could not talk about this specific case, but she did agree to sit down with us and explain their policies, including why they will sometimes fill out the paperwork to send a child to a mental health facility without getting approval from their parent.
Body camera video shows a 6-year-old being escorted out of her school to be taken to a mental health facility. Incident reports show the little girl was throwing chairs around the classroom earlier. You can hear on video as she asks if she's going to jail.
you're not going to jail.
The accredited Jacksonville nonprofit Child Guidance Center Incorporated, who made the decision to Baker Act 6-year-old Nadia, says they can't talk about her case, but say they do stand by their policies.
This is a decision that is made by a licensed mental health professional, and it is not taken lightly. It is not based on just one thing.
So far this school year, Duval County Schools called the crisis hotline with Child Guidance Center more than 1,100 times. CEO Teresa Rulian says more than 289 of those calls were for children younger than 10 years old, like Nadia. The nonprofit says 90% of those calls end with their team being able to de-escalate the situation. No Baker Act needed.
Just because someone all of a sudden de-escalates because an officer shows up or a principal shows up, then that doesn't necessarily mean that the issue had, and again, if it occurs over time. So that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is safe. It just means that in this moment, that this mental health issue has calmed down for a few seconds.
The 6-year-old's mother says she was never contacted by the school before her child was taken out of the classroom. Child Guidance says while the school district's policy is to contact parents prior, the nonprofit's policy does not mandate they get approval from parents to make that decision.
With children, do you sometimes fear, or is it a factor in the decision that there could be additional trauma of having to get in the police car and go to a mental health facility that you don't really know?
I mean, you're always concerned about that. You know, it's scary to get in an ambulance to go to a hospital, and that is definitely traumatic, but you better get in there to be safe. And so, again, that is a big part of our diversion focus, is that we don't want children to have to do that if at all possible.
Nadia's mother says her daughter is traumatized from the episode.
Nadia is not able to give an account of what happened. She's just not able to communicate that due to her disability.
The other component in this is the mental health facility. There are several steps. The school calls the crisis hotline, which then triggers Child Guidance, who you just heard from, to come out and decide if the child will then go to the mental health facility. But then it's the mental health facility, in this case, Riverpoint, that makes the final decision for how long that child will have to stay.
Okay, so let's clarify here. Because you hear the mother refer to her child's disability. This child has been diagnosed at 6 years old with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, and she's currently being investigated for autism. Okay, she threw a temper tantrum in school where they said she damaged some property. She's 6. How much property could she really have damaged? Okay, so she lost her shit basically, because that's what kids do sometimes when they don't get their own way, when they're frustrated. She threw a temper tantrum. And their response to the temper tantrum of a child they know who has ADHD and is being investigated for autism is to call to have her committed to a psychiatric institution, in voluntary commitment for 72 hours. That was the school's response to a 6-year-old throwing a temper tantrum. Now let's clarify. They have the whole police, the video, the body cams and stuff, and you hear the police speaking, and even they think it's bullshit. Okay, they literally are like, This kid she's perfectly calm and rational. She's following directions. She's asking questions, ensure they're answering. And they're saying, like, doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this kid. Like, she probably got mad. Like, you're basically committing her to an institution, a psychiatric institution that will follow her through all of her childhood because she got angry, saw red, and threw a temper tantrum
As a child, yes.
as a 6-year-old child. And you did this all without contacting the parents. The mother only got contacted after the kid was already on the way to be committed. And for the record, they didn't have anyone show up and evaluate her first. And she was, she was inconsolable, couldn't calm down. This lasted 4 hours. They didn't know what to do. And so then they said, okay, well, we have no choice. Nope, that's not what happened. Clearly, she calmed down. She calmed down before the police got there, because when the police got there, she was already calm. And that's what they did to this 6-year-old. Now she's being taken out of school. She's not really sure where she's going. She thinks she's going to jail, maybe, and she might as well be. And then she can't see her parents for 72 hours because, see, y'all need to understand. So the Baker Act, that's the same act that they lock up adults under for 72 hours. Like when you're being a danger to yourself, when, you're psychotic on the streets and you think, something's chasing you that's not really there and stuff. And so they can commit you against your will for a few days for observation and maybe for longer if you really need it. That act can apply to adults and to children. It doesn't specify whether it's adults or children, whether the parents need to be involved. It doesn't talk about that at all. And so over 30,000 children between the last time they did the studies between 2017 and 2018, over 30,000 children, over 36,000 children, 36,000 children this has happened to. How many of them do you want to guess were Black or non-white?
Right. We already know.
Don't even need to look up the numbers. Don't even need to, because I would die of shock if it was higher than 5% that were white. Die of shock. Like right here, right now. I'd be willing to sell everything I own. Here you go. You can have it all if those numbers are fair and balanced. Like, of course they're not. And see, this is where, y'all, when I talk about things like implicit bias, for example, and how much it's harming our children, they do studies where they just put cameras in classrooms and just observe. And what they see is white children and Black children doing the exact same behavior. And a white child doing that behavior will be ignored. And the Black child doing that behavior will be sent down to the principal and suspended for the exact same behavior, done exactly the same amount of times.
Yep. And we know that's true. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, or they will see literally white children being clearly more disruptive to the overall learning environment, and then a Black child doing one thing and then getting sent down to the principal's office and suspended because technically, yeah, they did break a rule, but they didn't notice when the white kid did it. Sorry, just wanted to finish that.
And I was agreeing with you that we know that's true. Um, that the palm-colored children, just want to throw that out there for DJ Music. He liked when I said that. I got that from Tareen Rain. When it comes to their children, you've seen the fit that they have when they came up with timeout. What? You had my child isolated? Oh no, I'm going to sue the school. You can't do that. Timmy just was having a bad time. You don't do that. So, they had a big fit over that, but they removed the child of color. Now, the CEO mentioned that they had someone that was qualified to evaluate the child to know that they should be removed. And if that's the case, my question is, why don't you have people on staff to deal with children since this is something that occurs? You got somebody that can say, "Oh, you need a little help." Have people on staff a section where the children can just relax. You can
Mhm.
call their parent. You don't have to call the police. This 911 has just gone too far. And
Right.
I'm sure they use 911. They didn't use the 7 digits to call non-emergency.
Of
I can't
course.
prove that, but hey, they still called 911 and or the police and had this child removed. And then the CEO, she stood on her ground. She said, just because everything was diffused before they were taken away doesn't mean that there isn't a problem. But the child had received a shot. What shot is that?
Mhm.
You don't know what medication that child is on. Could have had some type of reaction to it.
Mhm.
Anything. You don't know that. Maybe on the medication they had some already, and then you give the child more, and then that's too much in their system, and then they have a reaction from that, and something happened to them. But
Mhm.
it seems like to me when it comes down to helping, they don't listen to the people that are in need. They come up with their own plan and policy of how we going to help.
Yeah.
And that's something that angers me because I find that just in the corporate world. They come up with all these plans that's supposed to help the employee, but the employee is the one that's doing the work. And they're saying, hey, this doesn't really help me.
Mhm.
But I digress from that.
Oh, and you know what? I want to say here because I knew that there was a transcript in one of these articles that I had opened. So this is what this article says. So one of the officers was perplexed. The little girl in the back seat of her squad car, inquiring about snacks and stopping for sweets, was calm and bright-eyed despite her worry she was going to jail. She is fine. There's nothing wrong with her, the officer tells her partner. She's actually been very pleasant. Her partner agrees. I think it's more of them just not knowing how to deal with it, he says, appearing to describe the school. So, and this is the thing again. This is a kid who is 6 who has ADHD, which yeah, okay, children who have ADHD and they're primarily hyperactive, they can be very disruptive to a classroom setting, right? Because they have a hard time sitting still. Um, Fine, fair enough. You have a child who has autism, is on the spectrum, right? They
Hmm.
can have some pretty big reactions to certain things you wouldn't expect a reaction to. Like when you touch them and they're aggravated, they're going to freak
Hmm.
out, right? But for you to, she's 6. They called the police and said, "We have a child who's a danger to herself and others. Come get her." That's what the report says. The report says they got a call saying that they had a child who's a danger to herself and others. And the police cam footage, the first thing you see on the police cam footage is this little girl walking calmly, holding the
Hmm.
hand of a sheriff.
Yeah.
Walking calmly, holding the hand of a sheriff, being led. I guess maybe she must have run off or something, hiding away to calm herself down because she needed a little less stimulation, not more. And the sheriff found her and spoke to her nicely the way you're supposed to 6-year-olds who are upset. And she took her hand and let's walk back to the school. This was a normal situation in a
Right.
school. And I didn't know this before, but I was listening to the footage of the video that you found, and
Hmm.
didn't they said like the school was like a, they didn't say like a public school. They called it like something like a like a school almost like that's like
They
donations or
they did use another term, and I don't recall what it was, but I do remember that it was a different term.
yeah, like it sounded almost like this was a school that, it would normally cost people a lot of money to go to or whatever, but donations come in and whatever to help fund
Hmm.
these types of schools, which then would tell me that they should have specialized knowledge actually of how to
Yes.
deal with certain types of children like this one.
And let's say, the last couple of decades, I'll just say last 20 years, they have um, things have really changed. I mean, we have more children with peanut allergies. It just boom. It started happening. You have a lot of autism. So why don't you meet the needs of these children in your schools? When you build your school, when you make your budgets and plans and all that, you have to make um, adjustments for that. You got to have those EpiPens on deck, not just have the parent to pack one in the child's backpack. You have to have those things on hand. You got to get their record, whatever it is, to find out what the needs are
Right.
because it is really a serious thing now. This is what's going on, and it's not, I don't see any reversal anytime soon when it comes down to this. So you take care of the students, you know what their needs are, write that in your budget. Whatever you need to do, if you need to do fundraisers, whatever you need to do it. No
Right.
excuses, none.
Oh no, no, no. I got better here. Got better here. So the school. Okay, here. So Nadia's been diagnosed with ADHD and global developmental delay, which stalls cognitive and physical development, Falk said. She chose the school because of its special needs teaching, along with an
Oh,
education plan that documented Nadia's conditions. So the school itself, uh, is supposed to be equipped. Now there's a crisis line. Now I know normal schools would not know about this crisis line. So what they did, they didn't call 911. What they did was they called the crisis line. The crisis line sent someone over to the school, and then still, so think about how much happened without anyone contacting this mother. Okay, they
okay.
called the crisis line. No one called the mother. The crisis line people had to show up. No one called the mother. The crisis line people apparently evaluated the kid or the situation or whatever was happening, decided that they should call the police, which is when the police got the call, danger to herself and others. No one called the mother. They had to apparently go find the kid because now the kid's walking back with the sheriff. No one called the mother. The kid is now in transit, red-eyed and bushy-tailed, now recovered from her tantrum. No one called the mother until basically at this point now, and it wasn't the school. The school didn't call the mother. A third-party nonprofit. The third-party nonprofit, I believe, is the people who actually finally, eventually called the mother to tell the mother. By the time the mother found out, reached the hospital, her child was sedated. Remember, the kid was calm in the car. So
Right.
sedated for what? Well, what
Exactly.
you sedated the kid for 48 hours, had her lying there all zonked out on God knows what drugs to keep her sedated when she was calm in the police car. Why was she calm? What did she need the sedation for? Like, you can
Hmm.
literally shoot someone's kids up with drugs who are perfectly calm and don't need them. Someone's 6-year-old kid. You can shoot them up with sedating drugs without the parents' consent or knowledge at all. That's what this
Pitiful.
act is saying, the Baker Act. So if you live in Florida, this is part of an act that was enacted in 1971 in your state, which means it can happen to your child. And it's happened to 36,000 children already, just in the last couple of years. And that Washington was only 1 year, from 2017 to 2018. Imagine how many of our children this has happened to since 1971.
Mm, mm, mm. Woo.
Terrifying.
Darn near
Just
50 years.
terrifying.
Wow.
Right? 50.
Wow.
It's mind blowing that this is a process that happened and no one felt the need to call the mother.
Isn't that something? So when do they call parents? That's a good question.
Hmm.
That's what I would like to know. When do they call the parent?
Right.
Hmm.
Like, imagine going through all of the work, time, dedication to look for special schools for your 6-year-old who has special needs, right? And
Uh-huh.
so you finally find this school and you're like, okay, this school's going to be able to help her and deal with her because and help her development. She's 6, which means she's been in school for 45 seconds, and this is what happens. So what the hell do you do then? Right? This was the school that was supposed to be able to help her and to work with her, not against her, not be terrified by her, not be confused by her. Now what?
Right. Right. Isn't that something? Mm.
Terrifying. Terrifying that they can use things. See, now what they're doing, right? It's the same imminent danger thing, right? So the police, oh, I thought he had a weapon. That's their excuse for killing us as soon as we're like, 8 and they think that we're grown. So I guess before that, though, this is what they can do, right? It's the same imminent danger clause that they're using. But we thought we were in imminent danger. Did you? You're that scared of a 6-year-old because she's black? Like, what does she come up to? She has developmental delays. I bet you she's extra short too. Like, you were that scared of her? For real? What was she doing at 6 years old with developmental delays? That she was so terrifying that this was the
Right.
response. I
Exactly.
I cannot, like, it's so outrageous. Like, see, now if we're gonna start GoFundMe for things, I wish we would start and contribute to GoFundMe for things that matter, like this kid. See, this kid needs to go to a school, and to be in a program, and maybe to even have at home tutoring, stuff like that, with people who actually care about her and aren't going to do this to her continually, because it's going to result in her never learning anything, never growing and developing, being just traumatized and scarred over and over and over again. And that's not what we need. And I wish that, hey, we just raised, apparently, or, as a world, we raised $300,000 for some 9-year-old kid with dwarfism. So why can't we do the same thing for one of our 6-year-old children with global developmental delays and autism and ADHD? Why can't we do the same thing for this mother and this kid? And then so that way this woman doesn't have to send her kid back to that horrible school come Monday.
Well, I can answer that question, but you already know the answer, so I'll
Mm-hmm.
leave that be. But I'm with you on that.
Mm.
Um, the next story is always dear to my heart, and it's that P word. Anyone want to guess what it is?
You don't want to know what my guess was. Nope. Don't want to know.
Well, it's 7 letters, lady.
Oh, yeah, no, that's way more letters than my guess. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, if you've been around me for a while, you know I'm a sucker for the word pension. Uh,
Oh, I should have known. I did know. I knew. My mind was in the gutter today. Forgive me.
and anytime that someone can get it, someone lose it, it doesn't matter. I still have some type of reaction. I cannot help myself. It's just something in me. I'll never recover. It's just what it is.
It's so funny. Like, y'all, if you've never been in a conversation with Shar, it's hilarious. Anybody says the word pension, Shar will perk up suddenly. Wait, did someone say pension? What'd you say about a pension? Let me know about the pension. Right? Like, it's like, what? Where did you come from, Shar? How did you even know? Like, exactly. You've got a pension radar in your head. Like, that's it.
Okay, I won't bore you too much with this story, but there's a newspaper that is in Kansas, and a lot of the newspaper, it costs a lot of money to run the company. That's the bottom line. A lot of people are not printing or buying print, um, and they lose advertisements and all that kind of stuff, and just it's not worth it. So this particular company, McCaffrey Clathy. I don't know how they pronounce it. But anyway, they're in where I just said they're in Kansas. Let me see. Is it in Kansas? Sacramento, Fort Worth. Where the hell are they? They somewhere. I don't forget. But my point is, and I want to just point this out. This just stood out. Okay, the newspaper chain, they're expected to transfer to their management $1.4 billion to their pension plan to the US government. Now, what's a little scary is the fact that you handing that money over to the government. They're the one who's going to be holding it. But the other part, now this is the part that makes me angry. Let's see where I can find it. Is 800, let me see, they're in the hole by, where is it? They have a shortfall of $805 million. How are you in a shortfall of that? This
That doesn't sound like a shortfall.
tell me about it. And they founded this pension plan in 1944, long time ago. And what this is what angers me about these companies and the pension plan. They don't really pay into them like they're supposed to. They'll, or if they do, they'll gamble. Well, I don't want to use the word gamble, but they'll use the money to invest in something to try to make some money. But that isn't your money. That's supposed to be in a fund being held for the person, like a bank account, if you will. But they don't do that. And they get out of that by filing bankruptcy a lot of times. That's what happened to the company Fannie Mae, the candy company. They told everybody, oh, the price of sugar, oh, it just costs too much. We just can't keep making this candy. And, we just got to close everybody. I'm sorry. We filed for bankruptcy. And them people were closed for, I think, a year and something, no more than 2 years, and they came right back. But all those people lost their pension. It was just a business move. And again, I get it with the newspapers because a lot of stuff is digital now. You just don't get the newspapers a lot. It's digital. I think I mentioned that before, maybe a week or so ago. If not, I'll refresh the memory of about it.
Hmm.
When you go look for something online, a news article, some of those places will say, "Hey, you've reached your limit," and you'll get their little bar, and they'll block it. You can't read it. They'll have you to subscribe just to read it online digitally. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. But the crazy part is they gamble with people money. They promise you this. They the one came up with it, which is a great idea. You know, pay into it, and then when after so many years or whatever, here's your money. Happy trails. But they don't do that. They'll gamble with it. I keep using that word gamble because that's really what it is. They'll take your money and invest it, may lose it, may not. And that's why I say $805 million. You're right. That isn't a shortfall. But you know
No.
what's about to happen to those people. You can
Mm.
just forget it. It's going to be
Mhm.
between transferring the money to the government or that shortfall. Something's going to happen in between.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. The government's gonna get it. They're gonna go blah blah blah. Either way, no one's getting that money. Um, and that's
Yeah.
the unfortunate thing is, you think about how many people were sold the dream that if you got got a job with a pension, right? That was what you were aiming for all these years was a job with a pension. And you weren't really doing extra savings and stuff and whatever because you got a job with a pension. You did right. You did good. Except, oh wait, come pension time, where's yours? And right, and that's what's happening to a lot of people. So they were really counting on that real pension they were really supposed to get that they worked for decades for, and they don't get it, and no one cares, and that's it. The company still gets to be fat and rich. You just
Sure
don't.
does. Right. And I don't think, that's just so unfair because that was part of the package. That was part of
Hmm.
your package. Let one of those CEOs or VPs or something um, have to walk away from their job. They got those papers saying, hey, you said I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this stake, I'm going to get this. and they want all that was promised to them. And
Yep.
the employees should receive the same thing.
Exactly.
And that's what makes me so angry because I've seen a lot of people lose their pension um, over this type of thing where they mismanage
Mm-hmm.
the funds, and it ticks me off. So,
Yeah.
woosah,
I feel
and I'm
like,
back.
and part of it is, and this is the unfortunate thing, and you can never prove it. So, but it comes down to, I don't really feel like the funds were ever mismanaged. I think that they were sold a lie. I don't even think that, I think you're giving them too much credit. I honestly do. I think that they knew a long time ago. They made a business move about 10 years ago that they knew those pensions were gone. And then they just, they had a 10-year plan about exactly what they were going to do when they ever got found out. But they always knew that money was gone. I think they knew it. They weren't going to be able to get their pensions and go to the Aspen this year, and no one could abide by that. So the best bet that they could make is the one that they made, where they took your pension and everyone got their bonuses that year, and everyone still got to go to Aspen. Right? I mean, come on.
Mm,
The
ain't
Aspen
that
trip
about
is
some?
really important for team building.
Okay, team building.
Right, like I'm not giving them that much credit, because I don't think, like, again, 805 million, that's not an accident. I don't even feel like that's a gamble gone wrong. I feel like that is really intentional, and if someone stole it, and the company wasn't in on it, then hey, listen, they're coming for someone, they're gunning for someone, and we'll hear about it soon. Someone got arrested, that they know someone's out there in Aruba they got to catch, like something, right? If you don't hear that, then they knew. And I think this is a tactic that is a common tactic, that, fat cats get to use. And it's just like a don't ask, don't tell kind of thing, because everyone just knows when you're up there in the one percenters, this is what you do. You got to make sure you pay all, for your mansion and, your Lexi, one Lexus, two Lexi, and whatever. And hey, this is what happens. You promise people a bunch of stuff, you put some money there so you get the tax break on it, or whatever it is that they get that benefits their company. And you lie as that money slowly disappears. You shift some numbers around and whatever. No one really ever gets in trouble for it. And what is the poor person going to do to come up against this multi-billion-dollar conglomerate of a company to prove that, no, they really got shafted and they deserve their money? Good luck. That's it. They
Yeah.
know that all those people are now basically destitute or about to be in their old age, and they don't have the money to fight it. I really wish that some of these law firms that do some of these big cases pro bono would come after one or
Mm,
two of these
mm.
companies, because after the first couple times,
Yeah.
some companies get hit and that's it. They owe not a fraction, but all of it plus more. They'll start rethinking this tactic. But first, people got to stand up and be willing to lose their jobs now to get their pension for tomorrow. They have to be willing to do it. That's what it comes down to.
I like that one. And there are a lot of people out there that will be willing to do that too.
I think so. I think a lot of people are sick and tired of all the dreams that they get sold that never come true. And if it's being done intentionally to them, no, it's one thing that you sold us a dream that blah 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 was going to happen, and it just didn't happen that way. It's another thing that you knew you were lying to me when you did it.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Mm.
Did you have another article? If not, then
Um,
I'll move to the next one.
I did not for today.
Okay. Um, this one is just a reminder for folks. Let me share the screen. And this is about the Real ID driver's license. It's deadline is coming up this October. Let's
Mm.
see. Boop, doo, doo, da 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 da. Boop. Share screen. Girl, you know it's true. Ooh,
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 ooh.
ooh, I
I
love
love
you.
you. All right. All right. So your real ID license deadline is coming up. And let's see. Washington reports that the nation's airports are warning of for passengers if the White House doesn't postpone postpone the looming Real ID deadline. Doom, 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 doom. The law requires airline passengers to present a Real ID compliant driver's license or ID card at Transportation Security Administration checkpoints, airports as of October 1st. Those licenses require more proof of identification than regular license and are generally marked with a star at the top. So if you ever want a star, there you go.
Okay.
All right, so they've already issued 95 million of them. That is a lot.
Mhm.
That is a lot. Um, and let me see, I want to say what you got to give. That's what I want to point out. Do, 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 do. Okay, everyone is required to present 4 pieces of identification, including a passport or birth certificate. All right, passport, that means you have to have applied for that, sent all your stuff off to get that, or your birth certificate, that old little crumple up piece of paper that you always look for a couple of times a year.
Mhm.
You need a social security card or tax return. Okay, social security card, you might have that. Your tax return, hopefully you kept a copy of that. But knowing you, you feel some kind of way of, showing that. So you're going to pull out
Right.
that social security card. Then it says and, it didn't even say or, it said and 2 documents that provide proof of residence. Could be mortgage or rental receipt or utility bill. So you people that
Two.
have your kids' name on your utility bill because you didn't pay it and you messed up your name and all that kind of stuff, that's going to be a problem. And then the mortgage and rental, well, that could be an issue too. Depends on, what your situation is. But hopefully you'll come up with something.
Mhm.
So these are the things that you need. And this is just for that identification card. Um, so you have until October 1st if you plan on doing any traveling. You might want to get a hold of these documentation that you need and prepare. Do know that it's going to be a little wait possibly for it. I don't think you go and I don't know if you get it the same day or you have to send it off because I know for your passport you actually have to send the documentation off
Right.
and get it mailed back to you. So I don't know, but if you do plan on doing some traveling and they're just talking state to state, they're not talking about countries or anything. You might want to get started on that now.
Wow. Okay. So now I guess I have well, I have a few questions about this, but what if you live somewhere that is all inclusive rent? So all you've really got is the one thing, i.e., the lease, because, everything's included, basically. Like, I guess technically, I mean, I don't know, does like a cell phone bill count? Because you get it mailed to you at a particular address. I don't think that really counts as proof of address, right? Like you have to have a utility or, rental or mortgage or something, right? So like what would you do in that case? Uh-oh. See, they got her. As soon as guys, every time this happens, you got to know, listen, they did not like the topic that came up just now. Yes, fight the system, fight the power. You got it. You're back,
About the power that be. Okay.
right?
Well, let me get my other screens up because I just exit out of all of those. I got to pull those up. Well, you're going to be jacked up. And I didn't really want to say this, but I'm going to say it. If you have those type of issues that you got more excuses than necessary, more than likely you're not doing that much traveling. That's number
Mm,
one.
true.
So that really wouldn't affect people like that,
Well,
which kind of.
what I think about?
Mhm.
I think about a person, right? So, like I know a person, that they basically they lived with their significant other for several years, in a different state than the one that they were born and raised in or that their family was in. And now they broke up, right? And so now they're going to travel across the states and go back to, their mother's home basically while they regrouped. But if this was actually in effect, they wouldn't be able to travel because she was living, under his roof. So, everything was basically in his name. She was helping him, like the way she was earning money was she was basically the secretary for his business. So she didn't get a paycheck as much as, when their business made money, they made money. Right. So in and of itself, she basically have no proof of like anything. Other than, the basics that
Yeah.
you normally need. So in that case, it's like, oh yeah, thank God that this happened to a couple of years ago instead of recently, because you would have been stuck, girl. Uh, like I can think of real reasons. I can actually think of
Yeah.
legit reasons why one or more of these conditions you might not be able to meet. Like the America, I'm banned from America until I have like 600 million different conditions fulfilled that I'm not going to have fulfilled. Not so
Oh,
then what
that's
do I
quite a
do?
bit.
Well, that's how it felt. But it's like, oh yeah, you've got to
Okay.
have your mortgage and rental in your name. You have to show proof of at least 2 utilities in your name. You have to show 6 months of pay stubs in your name. You have to show like
Oh Lord.
everything. So I'm like, well, I don't work though, right? My
Yeah.
significant other, I don't work. I am currently on disability. Can I show you disability? Nope. We need pay stubs for 6 months. So if I don't work, then even though I'm on disability, I don't qualify entering your country because you think I want to run away to be an illegal immigrant there and not get my disability. Okay. But see, my point is, right? Like there's some legitimate reasons why you might be concerned. And there's some, me saying, well, okay, if I can't show a pay stub, but I can show this, does that count? No. Well, then what do? I can't show you a mortgage in my name. What if I could show you a rental instead of mortgage? Nope, gotta be mortgage. So if I don't own a home in Canada, but I lived here and I had proof that I lived here and I was committed to living here because of a rental agreement, that doesn't count. Nope. Like, I mean, and this is where I'm like, okay, whenever I hear them do things that are really, really specific and you keep adding on, it feels like what they are doing is they are trying to limit more and more people from having the ability to physically move from one area to another at all.
Mhm.
Right? Like, as in, if you have any type of limitation, you won't be able to move from one state to the other, even if it's for a job opportunity, even if it's for something to get you off welfare. You wouldn't be able to move because of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and that's where my concern comes in, is like it's so specific and there's so much added to it that I feel like they are doing it intentionally to limit people who are in the lower socioeconomic statuses from being able to move in any significant way from where they are. They're literally just going to be planted in their neighborhood forever.
Mm. That's something to really think about because they can control that. They can control just isolate you to just one little poor area.
Hmm.
Yeah, they can. I see that working for them too. You're right.
Right.
But that was one. That was one of the things I mentioned. If you have those type of issues, more than likely you're not going to travel, and you don't travel.
Hmm.
But you don't. Not everyone stays the same. People
Exactly.
can be housewives and then go back to work at age 40, and they're like,
Hmm.
okay, I want to do something now.
Right.
Or they could have been divorced. They're like, well, the house was in his name or whatever it is, and it can be an issue. That's true. Didn't think
Right. Or
about it
sometimes
like
you got
that.
to make a change to make a change, Like,
Yeah,
again,
start
people
over.
who, exactly, they get out of the hood because they got a job in a different state and they're willing to sit there and move them and their 4 kids to this new state for these new opportunities. They got a sister who lives over there and whatever, but first they got to get there. They got to get there to get all the other stuff. If
Right.
they can't get there, they can't get the other stuff. So now what? Um, So if your state suddenly has lost any and all job opportunities and you get a job opportunity in a different state, but you don't have this, and this because you've been having to live at your mama's house for God knows how long now because of the fact that you basically live in a job desert, well, now what do you do? And see, I always think it's them being crafty. Like maybe that's just my paranoia, aluminum foil hat, whatever. But I feel like they're being crafty, and something's coming up the pipeline that we're gonna see in the next couple of years, and you're gonna be like, that's why they had to do it now. That's why they did this. There's a reason. Something's gonna happen, and they're gonna want to make sure that people can't move for some
Yeah,
reason.
that's
Yeah.
you're good, girl. You're good, and I'm going down that rabbit hole with you, and I'm not even gonna say that you going too far.
Mm,
You are on. I believe you're onto something. I really do.
something. Yep. We're gonna see it. Trump's gonna get reelected. Okay. First, Trump has to be reelected. That's step one. Once Trump is reelected, you'll see. Maybe the reelection is part of it too. Who knows? But once Trump is reelected, we'll see. This is their plan is being enacted from now. And a lot of times we look at the just the surface level of it, how it's unfair and it limits certain people who ain't traveling nowhere anyway right now, as you said rightly, right? But it's like
Hmm.
there's got to be more to it than that. There's got to be. And man, I'm so tired of them playing games with their constituents. Like this is, government's not supposed to be your enemy. You're not supposed to be wondering what are they up to today.
Right. We got
It,
enough. We got enough going on.
mm-hmm.
Gee.
Mm.
Ah,
Right? Like that's all
all
you could
right.
do is just all right.
Okay. Now my next story, since we going in went into um, flying the friendly skies. This is a little quick thing, and then after that, go into the judge and jury segment. Let me pull it up. Do 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 do. Boop. All right, share that screen.
Ooh.
All right, where are you, flight attendant? Okay, I'm just going to say that I don't. So I'm just going to start off with that. Okay, I
Mm.
was a flight attendant for American Airlines, and he was on the keto diet. And by him being on the keto diet, when he had to use the breathalyzer, um, it was clocked at zero point zero 0.05, and that's considered that he was drinking. But he says he wasn't drinking. He's the only thing that he's done is change his diet. And there are studies that show that you can have a false positive when it comes down to the keto diet and alcohol. Now, this is the only reason why I don't believe this guy, because it happened in 2012 and he wasn't on the keto diet.
Oh.
So, right, he wasn't on the keto diet then when he failed the test at that time. And then when he taken the test in 2019, he failed it. And he didn't say he was going to sue or anything like that. He said he's thinking about it.
Mm.
So with that being said, I don't believe him.
Yeah. Something about that doesn't seem on. It sounds like one of those things that like one of your jackass friends told you this is your way of getting out of this, like that. Like that's what it sounds like. Yo, you just told him you're on the keto diet. Yeah, man, that can give you a false positive for real, like that. That's what it sounds like to me. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and like you said, there are some studies prove I'm wrong, right? All he's got to do is not
Hmm.
drink for a couple days, and now it's gonna be like, oh no, he's testing negative now. Like, yeah, it's alcohol. It's not like it's weed. You can do like a hair test or something, and it's still on your hair. This is alcohol. Once it's out of your system, it's out of your system for that 48 hours or whatever. So yeah, I think he came up with that story. He already knew that this was going to be his defense in case he was ever caught. He got called in and he went, God damn it, shoot. Okay, you know what? I know what my cover story is. I'm just going to wait until they catch me and then pretend like I thought everything was going to be all right. Yep. because people think that they're clever and they're smart and they're gaming the system and they're going to get one over and whatever. And in all fairness, it's an
Uh-huh.
interesting. He put effort and research clearly into his answer.
Yeah, gotta give it to him.
Yeah,
You
he
have to give
tried.
him
He
to him on
tried.
that. Yeah, now if he didn't have that, if he didn't fail one before in 2012, believed him, and also I think he would have pursued any type of lawsuit because you know when it comes down to us losing our jobs, it don't take a lot of time. So if you have a case, you need to go
Right.
ahead with that case. We already,
Yep.
especially men too, they always get the bad end of a stick. So why not, go ahead and sue, get what's yours? But by him thinking and pondering and all of that, I'm like, I don't believe you.
No. And like America is the most litigious place on the planet, right? Like I'm Canadian. Canadians don't sue for every little damn thing, right? Like we don't sue because we didn't use our own common sense when we should have known better. But Americans do, right? If there wasn't something warning them to use your mind here, ma'am, coffee is hot, right? Like then they'll sue. So the fact that you have a perfectly suable case, as that is to say, and you're not suing. That's not the first thing. I'm going to sue these people. How dare they? I can prove that I was at home, my puppy at the time that the supposed drinking occurred, and that there's no alcohol in my house. Right? Like, Americans will go balls to the wall when it comes to this lawsuit stuff. Any way to make it. So you're trying to tell me you lost your job, you lost any source of income, and now you're not going to sue, which sounds to me like you want the excuse on record for possible new jobs, but at the same time you don't want to push it too far because then you're basically going to be the next Jussie Smollett, where you have the whole Black community supporting you and Reverend Al Sharpton on your side and everything, and then you're just a liar. So you're smart enough not to go that far with it, but you want to go far enough that you're still employable and no one's thinking that you're a daytime drunk alcoholic person who drinks on the job. So you know I think I that's what I think. I think you're right. I think you got this one nailed. Just come on, buddy, come on. You
Yeah,
know you tried it though. I'm proud. You tried. You put in an effort, solid effort for day drinking excuses on the job. Good job.
yeah. Give you A for effort. Okay.
Yeah, you know you gotta reward effort sometimes in, in this day and age.
Yeah, you
I mean,
do.
it's a very lazy generation. So if they're gonna put in that much effort, you gotta sometimes like. I mean, I'm not saying let him keep his job or anything, but I'm just saying, come on, society, let's give him. All right, yeah. Mm, I'll let you be a YouTube star. How about that? You shouldn't be a flight attendant or, you know, anything that involves you having to be sober. But listen, I think a solid 50,000 people will watch you on YouTube, make outrageous claims and talk about the keto diet you're probably not really on. So yeah, why don't you do that? Start a keto diet and then start a YouTube channel. There you go. I got this for you. You start a YouTube channel, you talk about the new keto diet you're on, you warn people about the fact that this could happen to them because it quote unquote happened to you. And then there you go. Right? Like, dude, that's it. You're never gonna need to be sober during the day ever again. It's gonna be fine. Because now now your job is YouTube, and you could be as drunk as you want on YouTube any time of the day. People will still watch you.
Wonderful. I love it.
Yeah,
I
right.
love
We're
it.
helping our people out. All right.
You're just wonderful, I tell you. Just wonderful.
Thank you. I try. I mean, we got to do
Yeah.
it sometimes. Let's band together and band together in the right way. Banding together in the right way is not always fighting something like it's really a war to be fought. Sometimes it's just like, all right, listen, brother, we caught you. Now let's see what we can do from here. Because come on, we all know you're full of shit. All right, let's do this.
All right, good people. This is the segment. Let me see. I think I have a I do. I have a banner for it. I don't know why I don't use it. Why won't
Oh,
I use it? Let's find it. It's somewhere around here. Conversation, what's going on? Starting shortly. There it is. Boop. All right. This is the
Oh,
part of the
very nice.
show where we ended on the judge and jury. And the one I have for you tonight. Oh, let me give you your I'll give you a Law and Order sound effect tonight. Yeah, I'll give you one of
Yes,
those.
yes, I love it. Okay, that was my show. Oh my god, I watched them all except for Criminal Intent. I didn't like that one, but the rest of them I watched all of them. I'm so excited by that. Okay, sorry. As you were saying.
No problem. Hey Azula, I think I typed it in there. Just want to make sure I say hello to you. Let's see here. We got good old pasta. Boop. Um, I don't know if you guys recognize him. So let me go back to where who you would recognize. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. You will recognize the young lady. Let me bring that up because that is necessary. Let's see. Is it you? Shoot, which one is it? Wait a minute. Let me make sure. Okay, it says pastor, pastor, pastor. Remember that. There we go. Boop. All right. If you guys remember this young lady that won a lot of money in the lottery, I think it was 188 million. Let me see
Mm.
if I can find it. Yeah, 188 million dollars. And this is her pastor. Um, she was in the news a lot because she had a boyfriend that was in and out of jail, and she used a lot of the money to bail him out. Um, but I'm focusing on good old pastor here on the right of her. He's suing her or sued. Well, no, he's suing her because it hasn't gone through yet, and I don't think it will. He's suing her for $10 million. And the reason he's suing her is because of a lot of stress that he's had. Oh boy. Anyway, he said that he ministered her at on several occasions at her home, her new home, and she promised him three different amounts. First, it was $1 million, then it was 1.5 million, and then 2 million. But she went on and agreed for the 1.5 million. He wants to build a retreat center. And he said he's been praying about this for years. So what does he do? He wants to sue her for the money. Now he said that he has emotional distress, and he also have taken a lot of antidepressants. He's just really been distraught over this. And in my opinion, he should do like a lot of the folks do um, in the hood. They just go to church and get their praise dance on. Now, if old pastor would just go on to church, get on his knees, keep praying for this money, get the Holy Ghost, get them hands laid on them, that organ player going, the praise dance, I think you'd be all right. Get a little holy water, that praise dance on,
Mhm.
and just pray for them $2 million. Keep praying, brother. You ain't got to sue the sister. Just keep praying. Pray. Praise him. That's all he got to do. If he were
Wow.
just to do that and keep waiting on the Lord to give him his retreat, he'll be all right. He don't have to take them pills. He needs somebody to lay hands on him also. And that's my judgment. He needs somebody to lay hands on him. Now, what kind of hands? I'm not talking about holy hands. I mean, her family to go and put some hands on this man. That's what he needs.
Mm.
That would heal him of this problem he has. I think so. Oh yeah. That would really help him. He needs some hands laid on him. He will be healed. He would be.
Mhm. Mhm. You know what though, Shar? You know what I think? I think he's lying. I think he's lying. I think the reason why he thinks she owes him money is very different reason than he is saying. I think is some illegal something or another. I do. I think it's some illegal something or another, and he did it. And now that she's coming to money, he's thinking, well, remember that illegal thing I did to help you and your man out or whatever? Well, now it's time you owe me. And she went, ha! No, I don't. And so he said, "Oh yeah," and this was the best he could come up with is you owe me for because one time you said you were so grateful that I prayed well with you that you're gonna give me money, and now I'm gonna hold you to it. Like, nah, you can't say like you're someone's pastor. They don't owe you money for your time, and you know that that's not reasonable. There's no pastor in the world who honestly thinks that's reasonable. And that's why I think that there's something else he can't admit because it's illegal that he did for her and or her man, and now he wants to come up from it. That's what I think. And I think that he's gonna drop it. I mean, the case can't go through anyway. Case can't go through anyway. It's ridiculous. But he's gonna drop it because she's gonna be like, all right, I don't care. I'll go to jail for 10 years. I'm gonna tell on you, and all of a sudden it's gonna disappear. And it's gonna. I'll tell y'all the real reason why he wants to do this, and it's gonna disappear like it never happened. That's what I think. These hustling ass pastors pretending like they have some type of any type of Christianity, spirit, Holy Ghost, nothing. Okay, he's another thug from the street with a collar, hoping to make a buck. That's it. Sorry.
Well, well, my
But you know
judgment.
what?
Oh, go
I
ahead.
gotta say one thing. That judgment of the hands, regardless of whether you're right or I'm right, we both agree on one thing. Her family's hands are gonna come in very handy, haha, handy in helping him resolve his issue about what he should do about the $2 million he thinks that this woman and specifically God obviously owes him for this retreat center he's probably never planned on building in his life. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So that's my judgment for him. He get them hands laid on him. He
Mhm,
goes to church and keep praying
mhm,
and get on out this woman's life.
mhm.
That's my
Damn right.
sentence.
Mm, gotta love it.
I want to thank you all for tuning in this week. Hope you enjoyed your Saturday. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And if you missed the first part of the show, check it out. Got some information for you.
Mhm,
Um, and then hopefully next week we see some of you people back for Friday and Saturday.
mhm,
And you can join us in conversation. And if not, I'll just be back. That's all I can do.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, well, not, but see you next week anyway, I guess. Because I'm be here.
But again, thank you everyone for the support that you do give. And I'll see you next week.
All right.
Peace.
Cheers, y'all.